every team sucks. But, I mean, face it, every team that has lost this year, the team that they lost to is somehow tied to another bad loss they had themselves, or a game that they barely won where they should have blown out. That's what makes college football amazing. Anyone can beat anybody. I've said it before. I know you're probably getting tired of me saying it, but everyone can win a game. Never rule any team out. Every team has a chance. So let's go ahead and get into the predictions for this week. We have the first game, the ranked number 22 Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State's had a awkward year. They did get robbed against Central Michigan with that terrible call, and last week they got beat by Baylor. They're still good at home though, and Texas, they have that win against Notre Dame, and this is one of the examples of what I was talking about earlier. Notre Dame, like, they haven't been playing well this year, and they're 1-3. So the win against Notre Dame isn't looking as good now for Texas. However, I'm actually going to pick the Cowboys in this game. I think they are the better team. So yeah.
Texas over Oklahoma State.
No, I'm picking Oklahoma State.
You're picking Oklahoma State over Texas.
Correct.
These college pick'em games are really good. I mean, ESPN has a very good way of scheduling games that they that they cover on their channel. They pick good ones, They're gonna pick games where it's like Air Force versus Ohio State.
Right.
But the truth is that either team can win this game. There's very few games that obviously I feel like are. But this one, Texas is going to just obliterate Oklahoma State. Mark my word. I may only be 50 or 60% accurate, but this one, I know for sure Texas is going to kill them.
Alright, the next game, and I'm just going to apologize now for the hate I've been putting on Wisconsin this year. I thought they were overranked after that win against LSU. And again, another example, LSU is not that good this year. They just fired Les Miles today, I believe. So, yesterday. So, LSU is not that good of a team. And, however, Wisconsin did win at Michigan State. And again, I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. But Michigan State is a good team. Wisconsin has shown that they can hang with the best. And then there's Michigan, who's been steamrolling through, weaker teams at the start of the season. This is a tough one to pick, but I believe Michigan has the firepower this year that they really didn't have last year. And I think since they're at home, largest stadium in the entire NCAA, so I'm going to pick the Wolverines. No, Jesus.
Well, so it's Wisconsin at Michigan State, right?
Michigan.
I'm sorry. Wisconsin at Michigan. So it's So Michigan's problem has always been their kids are at home. Could this be the one? Yes. Wisconsin's going to win this game.
Ooh, man. Alright, the next game we have the North Carolina Tar Heels at the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State cannot be one of those teams classified into the, they lost teams also had bad losses. They lost to Louisville. I believe Louisville's the best team in the ACC right now. We'll get to them later in the show, but North Carolina's had a quiet season. They did lose to Georgia in week 1. And they've won 3 straight since then, but they have not gotten back into the rankings. And I think Florida State, like I said last week, they got a wake-up call, and I think Florida State will win this one at home.
So this is NC State or UNC?
UNC.
Alright, it's very evident that you clarify that because NC State is a giant killer. but is FSU a giant killer? No. We're still talking UNC. But NC State and UNC are one of those middle-of-the-road teams. Last year was a different story. But, again, you're talking North Carolina versus a now mid-season FSU team. Come on, FSU has to win. North Carolina is not the same team as last year. There are a lot of teams this year that are not the same team they were last year. You can't expect middle-of-the-pack teams who have a good year to come out with guns blazing the next year. It just doesn't happen. But Florida State has such a chip on their shoulder. They're going to just start dominating teams. They're going to beat North Carolina.
Alright, let's move on to the next game. Alright, next game, we have the number 11 Tennessee Volunteers at the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia just had their first loss last week to the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, Ole Miss, the SEC is always competitive. Like, midway through the season in the SEC, it seems like someone crazy is going to come out of the West, like A&M, I don't know, maybe Arkansas.
Of course.
But it somehow, in some way, and I don't like it, it always somehow ends up being Alabama. I hope that doesn't stay true this year, but this is the SEC East, and there's basically a different champion every year. Now, Tennessee did have a big win against Florida last week. They ended their 11-game losing streak against Florida. And I predicted Tennessee to win the SEC East this year. And I haven't really seen much from Georgia that would make me want to pick them in this game, even though they are at home and they do have Nick Chubb as a running back. I think Tennessee is back to where they should be, and I think Tennessee will win this game.
I've got Tennessee winning. I've got Tennessee also going to the playoffs, so Tennessee all the way.
Alright. Next we have the Navy Midshipmen at the Air Force Falcons. Now I do not know much about either of these two teams. I do know that Air Force is in the Mountain West, and that changes their offense from that triple option style offense that Navy has. A lot of teams have trouble with the triple option. I think that's why Navy has been so successful in the past few years. But I'm going to pick Air Force in this one. This will be a heated, service game. Air Force is at home, and I think they will win this one.
Yeah, Air Force also runs triple option. Matter of fact, they have the tightest play running team in the nation. So Air Force is going to win. Navy Air Force has been, they've both actually been better than Army the last couple of years. Army? Wow. They could go to a bowl game this year. They're undefeated.
Or they could lose like 7 straight. Remind you of any team. It's 2013 Northwest. Alright. Next game we have the Kansas State Wildcats at the West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia has had 3 good wins, or not 3, but a couple good wins this year against Missouri and BYU. Kansas State did have that loss to Stanford at the beginning of the year, where in the game where they did get clobbered, and they're not even in this thing. Or actually, I think it's UCLA last week. If you didn't see that ending, it was fantastic.
It's West Virginia all the way. I don't see how.
Yeah, I think enough about Stanford. West Virginia will win this game. They play well at home, and I think they will win this one. All right. Next, and at the beginning of the year, you thought this game would probably be the site for College Game Day, but oh boy, you're wrong. It's the Oklahoma Sooners at the number 21 TCU Horned Frogs. Both teams have had bad losses to start the year. Oklahoma cannot be classified as one of those teams. I've already touched on what that is, but TCU did have that loss to Arkansas, and Arkansas did just lose to A&M by like 21, I think. But I still think Arkansas is a good team, but again, we're not talking about Arkansas, we're talking about TCU. I think TCU will win this game. Oklahoma, I think they're going to take a downfall this year with those 2 losses, to Houston and Ohio State, especially the one against Ohio State at home. I mean, when you get beat by 21 at home, and you have really high expectations, there's something that needs fixing. I think TCU will win this game.
Boy, again, it's a battle of the bads. TCU needs help. I guess I'll just go with TCU here, unfortunately, because, it's horrible for Ohio State because that was such a big game. Yeah. Now we see that Oklahoma stinks. So We're gonna go with TCU. I think they'll win the game.
All right, the next game we have the Utah Utes, ranked number 18, at the California Golden Bears. I do not know much about California this year, but I do know that Utah just got done beating USC this year, and USC, like Notre Dame, they've had just they have not reached expectations really at all.
Right.
I am going to pick Utah in this one. I think this will be a high-scoring game. I think Utah will end up winning.
Right. I mean, you have to pick a team that has a school name of Utes. It's like the Illinois Ills or the Ohio State O's or the Florida Flows. I mean, you just got to pick Utah for that. Utah is a better team, but USC is a big school. So sometimes the smaller schools have a little bit of trouble. But I'm gonna go with the Utes here.
All right.
You gotta say Cal. Hold on.
Cows.
Almost. Cal's not bad. This is a 50-50 game, but I'm gonna go with Utah.
All right. Getting toward the end here, say on the last game, we have the South Florida Bulls at the Cincinnati Bearcats. Both teams had losses to powerhouses last week. Cincinnati losing to Houston at home, and the South Florida Bulls losing to Florida State at home. Cincinnati really never had a chance in that game against Houston, and South Florida kind of hung around with Florida State, but in the end, both of the powerhouses ran away with it. I'm going to pick Cincinnati in this one. However, I do think that they are at home, and home field advantage plays a lot in college football. Maybe you think it doesn't, but in a place like Cincinnati, it will play a big role, and they will win this one.
Do you know each team's record? What's each team's record?
They're both 3-1.
Again, flip a coin. I'm just gonna say Cincinnati will not win. Let's put it that way.
So you're saying, all right, well, we'll have a mix.
They're gonna lose.
All right. And the final game of the week, the game of the week, definitely College Game Day will be there. The number 3 Louisville Cardinals at the number 5 Clemson Tigers. First top 5 matchup of the year. Now, I'm not sure where Stanford at Washington is this week. I'm puzzled on why it's not in here, but
why is that not in College Pick'em? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I think Stanford.
They're probably not. ESPN's probably not airing the game.
Yeah, but they're also not airing a couple other games. That doesn't matter. All right, Louisville. This is a hard game. Clemson has shown in the first few weeks they kind of struggled. I mean, it wasn't really expectations. I don't think it was just the fact that other teams were ready for them. And if you haven't heard about what Louisville's done, well, you might as well not watch any of the college football talk shows. Louisville's been amazing this year. Their offense has been fantastic. I'm going to pick Louisville in this one. I think
you have to pick Louisville.
You have to. Clemson has just, as much as I want Clemson to win this game, Louisville just has way too much firepower on that offensive end with Lamar Jackson. He's definitely the Heisman frontrunner. And how can you pick against Louisville in this game?
Yeah, you really can't. I want to say it's going to be like an 80-20 percentage-wise Louisville over Clemson. But it's 50-50. There's no college pick'em game that isn't 50-50. We've learned the hard way the first 4 weeks this year. So I'm going to pick with my heart here and say Cardinals are going to win.
Now, I don't think this game is going to be as high scoring as a lot of people would predict. I'm going to say Louisville wins 45-37 in this game.
That is pretty high scoring, actually.
But not as high scoring as like what you just said.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks for watching. If you liked it, please share, subscribe. We post these videos every Tuesday, and check out my NFL videos as well. They will go out every Wednesday. And any last words for people at home?
Hey, keep an eye on Trevor Siemian, former Northwestern Wildcat, in there at Denver 3-0 in the NFL.
That's explicit content. We can't hear that. All right. Thanks for watching.
Dead out.
All right.